All right, so here we are getting ready for the 2024 AMA District 38 season of UTV racing. And that is gonna be first race of the season, February 10th. So that's this weekend, that's this Saturday. So we're getting ready. We've got the 2015 Polaris RZR XP4 1000. Did 2 races last year. Finished 4th in the sportsman class in my first race, and then 3rd in the pro stock class in my second race. So we're gonna stick to the pro stock class because that's where this, naturally aspirated 1000cc stock vehicle. Now, a couple things that we've done, I won't say in the off season, but things that have happened is we have new lights, all new lights from Sylvania. Sylvania, we did a film thing with them during King of the Hammers, and they were nice enough to put all new lights on the RZR. So we have a top new light bar. Everything is double row, which is nice. So it's better than the light bar that I had on there. Mounts a little bit differently using their mounts, but we've got the top new light bar, 40-inch light bar, I believe that is. Which is a good addition. You can see it on their website if you go to Sylvania and then go to the off-road section. Then we've got the rock lights, the A-pillar lights, the ditch lights, whatever you want to call them. They're also Sylvania. They're pretty good. And then we have the 10-inch double row bumper light here, nice and low, which all 3 together make it so you can pretty much see anything. Now, during the AMA races, they're mainly during the day. Probably not going to need them. Maybe we'll have the 10-inch bumper light on just to kind of light the way and have it on. Maybe we'll have them all on. I don't know. Maybe at times we'll have different ones on. Just kind of show them. But that is the new lighting package, we'll say. Now, Sylvania is coming out with like a pro series of lights. And so they wanted to kind of get these out there so people could see them. And so these are actually pretty inexpensive. So if you go to Amazon or some other online retailers, you can find these lights. They're pretty inexpensive. They don't have any yellow ones, but what I would like to do is actually make a yellow one for the back. So right now I have a blinking light that's part of that. I've had to install like a blink actuator in the circuit to get my yellow light to blink. They have their own blinking actuator that's actually remote controlled. That's like $10 or something like that. And you can change the pattern. So I kind of would like to do that with one of they have a rugged series, like 6-inch floodlight. I'd like to do that and maybe mount that on the back here. But yeah, so that is the light package that we have new now for 2024. During the filming, I actually bent a radius rod, which you can see here. I don't really know how it bent, but it did. So I had to replace them. I wanted to go with these PM Machine radius rods that Triumph Motorsports has out of Riverside. Lifetime warranty, made in the USA, all that stuff. But when I got there, and me and the guy were going through them, they were for 12 millimeter, so 2016 and newer, as I understand it. 2015 is 10 millimeter. So Super ATV, he had a set, $100 less. They had both the 10 and the 12 millimeter spacers. So that's what we've got here. We've got the Super ATV radius rods, which come with a new radius rod plate here and all new hardware, except for the hardware that's in the wheel hub carrier there. That is the stock hardware, which I've Loctited and all that. This is all new hardware though. So all the hardware that they attach to the frame, the chassis with, all new. And that is the Super ATV kit there. You have to kind of size them up and get the length right. They're adjustable, but I have them set to factory spec for this because I don't really want to mess with the rear alignment. I think thing handles just fine, but they're pretty significantly beefier than what was on there, which I didn't bend a radius red during racing, so I mean, we'll see. Now, the other thing I'm gonna do, got my oil change kit here. I'm gonna do a fresh oil change for the first race of the season. That way I know it's fresh. And then I've got all new bushings that I'm gonna replace all the bushings in the front A-arms with those bushings. And I got all new nuts and everything. And I'm going to knock that out and get that kind of so that that is all fresh. I'm not going to do the ball joints yet. Might do that next time. But I'll tighten everything down and get everything dialed in and all that stuff. So I'll do a little bit of updating as I go along, just kind of show you the difficulty. I've pretty much got to raise at least one. I'm probably going to do one side at a time. Probably raise one side up, get it done, and then we'll go from there. But that's it. That's what I'm going to do to kick off the year. The race is 4 35-mile loops. So 4 laps, 35 miles. So about 140 miles. We'll see. Sometimes they change it. But yeah, we'll see how that'll be the longest race that this car has done. So we're going to see how that goes. And then I got my my 5th point, my submarine belt installed, so I'm not a safety violator anymore. That was a kind of they weren't happy with me on the last one. But yeah, that's it. That's it for now. Keep watching and I'll give updates. All right, first update. We got I started on the driver's side. I'm doing it one A-arm at a time. So what I've done is raise the vehicle up, take the wheels off. I've got I took the lower bolt of the shock out, so that's loose here. I have picked it up and put it level, taken the bolt out of the rear ball joint, and then once I picked it up and got it level, I could drop the ball joint out of the hub here. And it was pretty easy. I didn't need a puller. I thought maybe I was going to need one of my suspension pullers, but I didn't. It gives me a chance to kind of inspect here. Now, I've been told that these holes will oval themselves out over time. Mine seem to be pretty good. So I was told, like, some people put washers. They weld the washer there, add a little bit more strength. I even, picking it up and wiggling it, even my A-arms, they look, the bushings look pretty good. Now, I have not compared it to what the new bushing looks like. I can do that real quick. So these are the new bushings, and they're fresh. Some freshies here. And I didn't get new spacers. But if you look, and probably time for some new ones. Probably not bad, but racing requires a different approach with some of this stuff. So where you would think, oh, I don't need to replace it, it doesn't hurt to freshen things up, in my opinion. That's what I'm going with. And it seems like the front end takes as a little bit less beating than the rear for some reason. I think probably because it's mainly unloaded a lot of the times, until you come to a corner and you kind of compress the front suspension. You're pretty much sitting, the way I kind of drive is I kind of sit the car down in the rear, pick the front up, get that weight off the front and just let it, kind of tap along like whoops and stuff like that. The rear shock is bigger, so I put more stress on the rear. I don't know. That's my theory. It's my theory anyway. But there you go. I'm gonna keep going here. The top A-arm, upper A-arm here is gonna be a little trickier because it has these riveted brake line holders, and I don't really wanna drill the rivets out. So I might just try to do it on the car and pull once I get the rear or the bottom back in, I might just try to pull the top one out a little bit. because I don't want to disturb these rivets here. But, you know, is what it is, and I might have to do that. Not a huge issue, but I'd like to avoid it if I don't have to. But it looks like it might be kind of tricky. So we'll see. I'll see what I got going here. I'm also trying not to take the nut off here of the axle and leave that. So that's another thing I'm trying not to do. That's why I'm doing it one arm at a time. So there you go. All right, so the upper A-arm is a little bit more complicated. So I got the lower A-arm back in. Bushings, I greased them, put them back in. I'll do the Zerk fitting grease fittings when I put everything back and tighten everything up. But I had to take off pretty much the whole, you know, front grille, headlights, bumper, skid plate, all that to get access to the nut that's right here. With that piece on, you can't get to the nut. So I had to take everything off, which is cool. It's fine because you get access, you get to check everything else. Yeah, so it's good because I'm getting to look at stuff and inspect and see if there's cracks or anything like that, and also learn. I haven't taken those pieces off yet, so it was new for me, and it'll give me a chance to tighten everything back up again, put some Loctite on some things. Still incredibly easy vehicle to work on. I don't, you know, these things are very rudimentary, but yeah, they're easy, and that's it. So just a little bit more work than the bottom one, but not too bad, considering it could be much worse. So yeah, that's that, and I'll give another update when I like tighten everything back up again. Oh, and again, the ball joint popped out. As long as you get it level, that the arms level, the ball joint pops right out. So, and I kept the tie rod connected and all that, the axle, and seems to be pretty. Everything seems pretty good. Not a problem at all. So yeah, there you go. That's it for that one. Again, I'll give another update later. All right, so driver's side upper A-arm. You know, cleaned it up, looking at it to inspect it, and saw what looked like what might be some cracks. So, be on the safe side, I cleaned it up, took the paint off, and put a little welds on the joint, and it's right where the ball joint here connects to the tube. You know, when you look at these stock A-arms, there's a lot of voids because of how they manufacture them. So there's like little holes here, and so it's completely tight fit on everything. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, over time, you can even see like here, there's like a little hole there, and over time, you know, the pounding of like whoops and bumps and dips, and it just things, if there's a void, it's going to go where that void is, and things are going to wiggle, and eventually they're going to break and crack. Well, crack then break, but that's just the way that it goes. So threw some Steelite paint on it, a couple coats, and then I'm going to put it back now. And then I already did the passenger side lower A-arm, so I'm just kind of like going back and forth and throwing it all back together before I do the the other thing is I figured out a way to get the brake line out of these clips without having to drill the rivets out. The top one's pretty easy. This bottom one here is a little bit trickier, but you can do it. So just so you know. All right, so A-arms are back on. Everything's bolted back up. Wheels are back on. I don't know, and I've greased all the fittings as well. I don't know how until I drive it. I don't really know if it's gonna make a difference or not. But I'm happy that it's refreshed and got everything buttoned back up. And it gave me an opportunity to clean everything behind the grill. and this front fascia piece, which I like because it was pretty dirty back there. So everything is all new in there. Now at some point I might upgrade the A-arms, considering the one had cracked, but we'll see. I don't really know which ones I would upgrade to yet. I have to figure that out, but yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna did an oil change, gonna change the air filter, and see how the race goes this weekend. So yeah, stay tuned for an update, post race update about how it goes and how everything, because I'm also interested to see how the radius arms, if they feel any different, you know, now that there's a little bit more beefiness in the back. So we'll see.